Hi and welcome back to my channel. I'm Tasha, and today what we're gonna work on is some squares, some granny squares. Recently got some new yarn and I wanted to review it for you because it is brand new and I honestly love this yarn. I love all of the yarn that's come out like this yarn. And so I wanted to share it with you. I wanted to make a review video and I wanted to make a project with it. And not to make you wait any longer, it is the brand new Red Heart all-in-one granny square heart yarn. I am so excited about this. I saw this was coming out and I was like, I have to have it. Next to me, I actually have another project that I'm working on that is made out of the Granny Square Flower Power all-in-one yarn, and I love these. These are my favorite. I've used the very first iteration, the all-in-one Granny Square yarn first came out with. I made a whole cardigan out of that. I'll show you a picture if I can find one, and I love that one. That one was a little bit more difficult to work with, but I did love it, and I still do have a skein of that and I need to figure out what to do with it. But I also made these and I think I love this one just a little bit better, and I love them. I love them. They're so fun. So when I saw that they were coming out with this one, I had to try it because I'm in love with the all-in-one Granny Square yarn. I know that it's a little bit controversial. I know a lot of people do struggle with it, and I completely understand why, because it is a little bit difficult, but once you get the hang of it, I've realized that it is totally doable. So today we're going to be making, hopefully, plans don't change, but we will be making a vest. I'd really love to make a cute little Valentine's Day vest. Since this video hopefully will be out, my current plan, it is January at the moment, the end of January, and so my plan is to have this come out on Valentine's Day. So happy Valentine's Day if you celebrate Valentine's Day. Me and my husband don't really. We just kind of, because we're always hanging out, so. But if you celebrate Valentine's Day, I hope you have fun. I already started a little bit of this. I pulled a skein out and I started to try to work on it, and this is what I got so far. I got a little bit frustrated because I could not figure out the pattern, but I remember the same thing happening to this one, and so I feel like it's just going to take me a little bit longer to get the hang of it. Sometimes it takes me at least 3 squares for me to get the pattern down, and so yeah, so that's why I kind of had to stop in the middle of it. So far, the only thing I've noticed, and this is only my first square and I haven't even finished the entire thing, I had to do one less, I think it's on this side. I had to do one less triple crochet. So this calls for doing 8 triple crochets in that one spot. And I had to do 7, because I ran out of yarn. But I don't think you can tell, like from far away, you can't really tell. So I'm curious once I get over there, how I'm gonna have to adjust the counts. I may have to just do like 2 stitches in one if the count's kind of weird, but so far I haven't noticed that. So already we're kind of coming up to a kind of a weird spot, but this is the first square of the skein, so it's possible that we may just need to keep going and the next one might be a little bit better, because sometimes the very first one, the yarn could just be cut a little bit short. So I'm hopeful that this will work out really well. I think it's going to work very similar to this one, and so that's why I think it's going to be really successful. So come along as we make this vest. I've made a lot of cardigans, but I've never made a vest, and I want to make a vest because I feel like it's going to take a lot less yarn. I only have 3 skeins of this, so I'm hoping that'll be enough. But anyway, come along as I make this, and I hope you enjoy it. Feel free to subscribe if you like this, if you like crochet, very talky vlogs. I also am about to come up on my market season, so keep your eye out for that. Anyway, let's head on. So it's later and it's dark. So I don't want to record for too long because the lighting is terrible, but I wanted to show you this because I just finished the first square. I don't know how I feel about it. I mean, I like the way it looks, but making it was a little bit tough. Usually it just takes me a minute to like get used to it, so I may have to make a few more before I make that judgment, but I am debating on whether to pull this out completely and redo it, because it didn't quite fit. As you can see, like right here, it didn't quite make it, and I had to adjust the pink heart a little bit, So I don't know. I don't typically with granny squares like the chain one in between each of the little things. So I may redo that, but we'll see. But I wanted to show you that I finished the very, very first square and I haven't cut it off yet because I may pull it apart, but it's cute. I really like it. I like some of the other colors too. And so I am really curious to see how the rest of the colors will work up as well. So, but there it is. Can you imagine it? Can you imagine it as a vest? Can you imagine it as a vest? I don't know. I actually like the idea of it over this black shirt. So we'll see. Hopefully we can turn it into a vest. Sorry about the terrible lighting, but I'm trying to get my toddler to go to sleep while I'm doing this. And she's running around like a crazy child. Also why I haven't recorded as much of my process, but I did it again and this turned out way better. Look at this. Way better. So what I did differently than what the pattern is, and so when you start it, each one of these kind of corners, the pattern calls for a chain 3. And then in between each of these clusters, it calls for a chain 1. I've personally never liked that in any granny squares. And so what I did, because I was kind of running out of yarn every row, so what I did was I actually removed the chain 1 in between each of the clusters. And then I made this a chain 2 instead of a chain 3. Just so it still kind of has that little bit of a corner and not as large as spaces. And so it's way better. And the yarn lasted way better, by the way. So wanted to show you that. Got the first square done. Finally, I'm just gonna keep trucking. Hopefully by the end of the day, I'll have a nice big old stack of squares. We'll see. With this thing over here, I don't know if I'll get anything done. This is why I can't crochet and like film at home, because she doesn't really let me. My husband's trying to take a nap in the other bed that we have at this hotel room we're snowed into, and she keeps interrupting. I tried to get her to bed, gave her a bottle, had her lay down. She didn't want to have anything to do with it. But anyway, there's a little bit of a look into my life. But I'm loving the first square. I'm hopefully going to have time to block it as well before we actually put the vest together, because it needs probably a little bit of a block, but we'll see. Anyway, there you go. What do you think? Yay. I've already hit a snag. Literally hit a snag. Because I was literally about to start the second square.
Ow.
And baby.
Ow.
And this,
Ow.
so the yarn has to be a center pull, right? And I tried to pull it and it got snagged, so I had to pull all of this out of the center, and it's still not, like, something is still stuck. So that's lovely. Oh, and the daughter's trying to help. See, it's like completely knotted. Okay, don't pull that hard, girl. I might move to another one or just cut this off completely. I don't know. I am not the kind of person that's patient enough to unravel yarn. So my mom is, though, luckily. So I end up giving the yarn to her to unravel. This might have to be the chunk. I may have to just figure out where the first color is and just cut it, because I don't want to have to deal with this. This is ridiculous. I hope that this is a one-off thing. I've never had an issue with Red Heart's yarn before not pulling from the center, but it's especially annoying when you have to pull it from the center, because that's how the yarn works. So anyway, that's fun. Already messing it up.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I ended up doing, is I just found the last bit of the yarn and I just cut it off because I don't want to deal with this. So this is one of those things that I'm going to give to my mom. So Mom, if you're watching this, you're going to get this if you haven't already. And you're going to help me unravel it, because I have no patience for this. But I also don't want to waste it, because that's like probably a couple squares that I wouldn't get. Anyway, sorry about the noise. That's the dishwasher going. That's unfortunate. I really hope that not every skein does this, kind of a negative in my opinion, but whatever, easy fix, I guess. Let's keep moving forward. Hi and welcome to my car studio. So this is the first time that this video has seen my car studio, and if you're new here, I like to record in my car because that's sometimes the only time I have time on my lunch break while I'm at work. So anyway, I wanted to give a quick update. We've made a few squares. Obviously I got the hang of the square at this point. I can do it without looking at the pattern, which is great because having a huge problem with looking at the pattern on the label, because row 4, I think it's this purple row right here, was so hard to see and I kept getting lost. I was only able to do a couple of these before I'd have to look away from the pattern, do a couple, and then look back at the pattern, and I'd realize I would lose my spot. It was really frustrating, but as you can see, I have the pattern memorized at this point, and for the most part the yarn is really good. It changes when it's supposed to. There's like a couple spots, like, you know, as you can see here on this one. And most of the time on pretty much every single square, there's some sort of bit that's a little bit off, like this one right here. But honestly, I'm not a perfectionist by any means. I don't care. I don't care if it's just the tiniest bit off. If it's only like half a stitch, or even if it's one full stitch that's in the wrong color, I just don't really care. Now, if I have like way too much yarn, or if I definitely don't have enough, that's a different story. Anyway, so for the most part, it's changed colors really well and I'm really happy with it, and I think it's really cute. I love it. I am kind of excited. I kind of want to get a couple more colors. There's a color, and I'll pop it up on the screen. It's like got some pinks in it, but it also has like a yellow, like a, I don't know, a mustard yellow color, and I really love it, and I kind of want to get some of that too and make something out of it. But anyway, I think I've got, let me count how many squares I've got right now. Looks like we've got 15 squares at the moment, if I have them all right here. I finished a whole skein, and I think, I can't remember now how many. I'll pop up on the screen again how many each of these are supposed to make. I think it's more than that, because if you remember in the previous clip of me doing my first square, I hit a snag and I had to pull out a bunch of yarn, and so I don't know how many that was. That I think it would have been like 1 or 2. And so I may be short like 1 from what you're supposed to get, but I think this is pretty good progress. At some point I need to sew in all my ends, and then I need to start blocking it. That's really the biggest thing, is they do kind of curl up a little bit. So blocking for me is going to be necessary, but I am just going to slap them on my cheap Amazon blocking thing that's probably going to barely be big enough for these, but it'll still work because I believe these are the same size as these guys, and I blocked these just fine on that. So we'll start blocking them. I wet block. I don't know how anybody else does them, but I've heard with acrylic yarn like this, like fully 100% acrylic, you don't have to wet block it. And like I said, I've had success blocking these and some other squares that I have, and so I'm just gonna wet block them. Nope. So I'm just gonna dry block them, and then hopefully they'll be done in the next few days, enough to have I can start sewing them together. So I have a couple of ideas on what I want to add to this to make it cute. So I'm going to block these and then I'll put them together. I just recently learned the mattress stitch, so I'm probably going to sew these together via the mattress stitch, and I really love it. I used it actually on this project. I do have projects just randomly in my car because, but I recently learned on this, and like the join is so nice. It's so nice. So anyway, I'll mattress stitch these guys together, and I will show you an update to that once we get there. And yeah, I'm really excited. I'm excited that this is coming together so quickly. I have a couple more weeks to get this done, but we'll get there. How do you like the yarn so far? Did you get any? And if you did, what colors did you get? There's also a blue one that's really pretty. I feel like a blanket in that would be really cute, but I have to not go crazy
And so we're just gonna go with this one for now. Anyway, I'll get back with you once we block these and we're ready to start sewing them together. All right, it's a new day. We are currently sewing in the ends of the squares that I already have done. I still have a few to make. I don't know how many squares I'm going to need for this vest. I actually need to do a little bit of research on how to put one together, although I think it's relatively simple. I have put together quite a few cardigans, and I feel like it's the same, except for you just don't make sleeves. So I'm hoping that it's going to be that simple. We'll find out. I guess you'll be on the road of discovering if this is going to be that easy with me, because that's the whole point of this video. So we'll see. I'm kind of thinking that I'm probably going to have to add a little bit to the sides. These squares are like nice and big, but I also don't want it to be too oversized. I kind of want it to fit perfectly. So we'll see. But I'm currently trying to sew in ends. I think I don't know how many squares. I'll have to count them. I think I've only made a couple since the last time I talked to you. So I have all these, the ends are sewn in. I just have to cut them off. And then I have this stack left to do. So I won't bore you too much. We'll see. But I'm trying to get these done so I could start blocking them. And we can start putting them together for the vest. I'm very excited. I'm so excited because we're getting closer and closer. And I'm working through this one at the moment. I've worked one whole skein, and I think I mentioned that already. And so I'm working through the second one. I may only need 2. I may not even need all of the second one, but we're going to make all of the second one, and any leftover squares we'll make something else with. But that's the update currently, is we're sewing in ends, and then we're going to block them. And then we will start to put them together. I can't remember if I mentioned this or not, but I am going to use the mattress stitch to stitch them together. I just recently learned that, and it's amazing. I think I did mention it, but I film videos simultaneously, and so right now I'm also recording a studio vlog, and so sometimes I don't remember what video I said what in, so I apologize if I repeat myself a lot, but I am filming multiple videos at once. But anyway, here we go. That's the update. I'm just going to keep sewing in ends, and then hopefully by the end of today I will have all the ends sewn in, and then I can start blocking. I'll introduce you to my blocking block. It's at home right now, so I can't show you right now, but I will show you when I get home tonight, and we will start blocking them. So I'm excited. We're moving forward. There we go. That's a lot of squares. I'll probably leave them on there for about a week, maybe. Can't be any longer than that because this video needs to come out in a couple weeks. Blocking like this really does make a difference too. I'm really happy with this little blocking thing. I probably need to get a couple more because, as you can see, this is my temperature cardigan that I was blocking prior to this, but I need it for this now, so there you go. It's so satisfying seeing them all stacked up like this. All right, I'll let you know the results of this later. It's a new day. I was just sitting down to look and see like how my blocked stuff is going, my squares being blocked, and I wanted to show you the difference between blocking and not blocking, and these are just dry blocked. Like, look at the difference between that. That's pretty significant. And keep in mind that I only have 4 of these. I need to see if I can find more of them so I can at least have like 4 more to pull out the sides, but right now I only have 4, and
This is one that I haven't blocked at all, and that's a pretty big difference, I will say. I like that. I think that this will work up really well. And this was only on the blocking thing, on this thing for like, it's Tuesday right now, so I put him on Sunday, I believe, and so that's pretty good. Saturday or Sunday, I can't remember now what day it was, but that's pretty good. So if I have time today, I want to start sewing these together, start working on the back and sewing them together. I'm going to mattress stitch them because that's just my new obsession right now. And I'm gonna use this to join them since this is so I don't have any extra of like this. So I'm gonna use this to join. It's probably the closest color that I feel like matches still. So if you kind of can see the yarn a little bit, it won't be that big of a deal. But with the mattress stitch, you hardly can see the join color as long as it looks very similar. So we're using this to join, and I'm gonna try to join the back today if I have time. If not, that's okay, but I have a little bit of kid free time, and so I'm gonna do cleaning first, and then I'm going to see if I have time to put these together. So I'll let you know. But I just wanted to show you the difference because, man, it makes a big difference. Like, I could still probably use these and make it work, but blocking them like this does really make a huge difference. But anyway, there you go. Demonstration purposes. I think these are ready to sew together, so I'm very excited. I have the next set of squares that I need to put on here already done, but I left them at work, so I will have to do that later. But at least I have this good stack of squares that I can start putting together for the back. So anyway, there's an update. So I didn't have a lot of time because I was a little bit on a time crunch. I'm a parent, you don't get a lot of non-kid time, so I was only able to put 4 together. It's hard to tell with the window behind me, but this is what it looks like. Let's see if I can put you somewhere else so the window's not behind me. Okay, I think this is, yeah, that's better. So that's what it looks like. It looks really good. I'm a fan. Now I just have to put everything together. So I think my plan is it's gonna be at least, I'm not sure how long it's gonna be yet, but at the very least it's gonna be the 5 across the top. So I'm trying to imagine it. Well, you think I could do 4? Maybe not. I may have to do 5. That's the hard part, is I'm literally just winging it. I have no idea, but I was thinking initially we were gonna do 5 across and at least 5 down, if not 6 down. But I don't want this to be too long, so it'll probably just be a 5 by 5. But I got 4 put together. I love this stuff. This is cute. I love it. I'm probably gonna have to get way more colors because why not? Although I might get sick of it after this, so I may have to buy it for next time. But yeah, I wish that I had more time to sew more. My cats are gone crazy. I wish I had more time to put more together, but I don't. I have to go pick up the kiddo from my husband because he has to work today. So do you think, this is obviously the back panel, not the front panel, but do you think 4 would be good? I can't actually ask for advice because by the time you see this video, it's already going to be over, but we'll have to toy with the idea. I may have to make it with 4 and then kind of put it on my body, like on my back, and kind of get an idea. So 4 might be enough. I may have to do, and I anticipated this, I may have to crochet some rows on the sides just to make it a little bit wider so it'll kind of fit around me a little better, but we're going to wing it. Anyway, there's an update. Next time I'm hoping to give bigger updates as I go so that we're not just doing little tiny updates. So hopefully by the time you see me again, I'll have the whole back panel put together. So there's that. I also just created a bunch more ends for myself, so I'm going to try to get that done as we go. But anyway, another update for you, and I'm really glad I was able to do this. I was nervous I wasn't even going to be able to sit down and do this at all. So I got my cleaning done. Now I got to reward myself with crochet stuff. So there you go. Anyway, gotta go now. So we'll see you in the next in the next update.
So it's a new day, and I was just sitting down to record a little bit of a bunch of things. I typically kind of just record little bits of a lot of videos and then just kind of splice it together as I go, but I was sitting down to do that, and I realized I had all of these at work. I've been just like slowly working through the second skein, and I'm pretty sure I'm almost done with it. I think probably like a couple more to do. It's always difficult once you're at the end of the skein and it starts to tangle on itself. The first skein I did, I probably sacrificed the one at the end because I just didn't want to have to untangle it. So we're getting that way with the one that I have inside, but I wanted to show you this nice old stack of squares that I've worked on this week. Hopefully I can get all the ends sewed in and these thrown on my blocking station, but I'm still working on putting things together. It's a little bit of a slow progress because I just am running out of time or I don't have a lot of time to work on it. But I wanted to mention, since I'm here and since I got this giant stack of squares, I wanted to mention that when I said that I'm gonna work a vest, which I realize we're like, I don't know, 20 or 30 minutes into the video, and I'm now finally telling you this, I am actually wanting to work up like a vest that opens. So my plan is I'm going to do a full square back, and then I'm going to do 2 front panels. So I'm going to do a single crochet probably around the entire thing once it's all together, and then what I'd like to do is add a scalloped border around the entire thing. We'll see if that looks cute, but I wanted to also tie in the front as well. So it's going to be like an open vest, and it's going to tie in the front with the scalloped edge around. And so that's kind of my idea. That's the image that's in my head. That's what I'd like to do. Now I'm not sure what color I'm going to use yet because I am not done with the squares yet, and I've barely started putting them together. So I'm going to kind of wing that as I go, but I am going to raid my stash. I'm not going to buy anything new. I'm going to raid my stash, and I'm sure I have something that I could match this with, either like a black or a white or a gray or even a pink or something like that. So that's my vision for this vest. And I realized I was watching a video completely unrelated to crochet, and someone was wearing a vest and it was a closed vest, and I realized that I didn't specify that the vest was not going to be like a closed vest. It was one that I could open and like wear as kind of like a cardigan, just without the sleeves. So that's my plan, and hopefully we can get this done quickly because it is Thursday of the week. So I have Friday and the rest of the weekend plus all next week to finish this project up. So hopefully we can finish it up. This is the first time I've made a video like this where I am dedicating the video to an actual project. So we'll see how this goes. But I did finish a bunch of squares. I may have enough squares. I have to kind of look, but I may actually have enough squares to finish this project up. So hopefully we can get this done. We will get this done. You will see a finished thing at the end of this video, even if the video needs to come out late. But anyway, I wanted to give a quick update and a little vision of what I want this vest to look like, and I'm very excited to wear it. So anyway, there's the update. All right, so I'm at the park because it's like amazing out right now, and hopefully nobody will show up and watch me talk to myself, but it doesn't seem like anybody's right here at the moment. So anyway, I'm just gonna learn to be okay with that. Picked up some lunch, but I wanted to give a quick update because we did get a little bit farther on our vest, and I'm really nervous, but I'm thinking that we are on track to get it done this week. So I wanted to do significantly more before I updated you again. So I've been just kind of trucking along at work as we've had slow moments. Usually I don't like to record at work. Every once in a while I do, but I don't like to because I don't want to get in trouble. But I don't remember if I showed you the back fully. We got the back done completely. Now I do have ends I still need to sew in, but there's just a couple. So here's the back, and then currently I am working on one of the panels, the side panels. So I've got this done, and all I need to do is stick this to the bottom, and that is the first side panel. At the moment, I'm still in need of making 3 more of these squares, so I'll probably try to do that today and then get those on the blocking station to get those blocking for a couple of days before I put them together. Essentially, I just need to get 1 more panel completed, and then I can put them all together.
Can you see the vision? I can, and it's looking really cute. I also hope that I have enough time to like wash this or block this or steam it or something like that, because I don't know if you can tell on camera, but it is a little stiff. It's just a red heart yarn thing. So I want it to be a little bit more like drapey. So that's what we're looking like. Here, I'll stand up. I don't know if you can tell, but that's what we're looking like. And hopefully we can get this done. I'm thinking if I can just stick to it, and if work isn't too busy this week, which I don't think it will be, but hopefully it won't be. I'll just try to work on this as much as I possibly can, and I think we'll get it done. But we're pretty far into it, so I will just keep trucking, and I will hopefully give you another update where this is actually together. And then we're gonna start on the single crochet border, and then hopefully I can get the scalloped border around the edge as well. Still don't know what color I'm gonna do that in. Once I get there, I will look at my stash and see what color matches, but we'll get there. There's the update on that. So I'm gonna eat my lunch now, and then I will see you in the next update. Quick update for you. It is the next day. Very windy today, but it's very nice. I'm pretty sure I did not tell you. I finished the first panel, the first front panel. So now I have the back panel and the first front panel done. Today at work, I worked on the second panel. I've got 4 together currently. And then yesterday I finished the last 3 squares that I need, and they're currently being blocked at the moment. Hopefully, I'm gonna try to put these together today at home. It's my half day, so I'm heading home right now after work. And so hopefully, my daughter allowing, I'll be able to put the rest of those together and then attach it to the 4 here, because ideally I would like to have all the pieces together either today or tomorrow. That way I can pin it together, try it on, make sure it's gonna fit, and see if I need to crochet along the edges or anything like that. So yeah, that's where we're at on this. I was also thinking, I'll give my thoughts kind of at the end of the video, so I'll probably mention this again, but I used this join color, if you can kind of see it in the center, and I was literally just thinking about it. I was putting this together, and I literally only have 4 more that I need to put together and then attach. And I feel like I may have made a mistake choosing this join color, because it doesn't, like, it sticks out super bad. With the mattress stitch that I'm using to sew these together, for the most part, you really can't see the color on the actual stitch itself, but it's those center bits that you can really see it. And I'm starting to realize now that I had extra yarn left. So I still had, from my second skein, I still have had a couple squares that I could have done. And I could have used that. I could have cut off the pink and used that to join these instead of doing what I'm doing now. So I regret a little bit, and the fact that I realized that like super late in the game, where I only need to sew together 4 more. Sometimes I don't use my brain. I feel like sometimes it's just not, it doesn't connect, you know? And there's only so long that you can use like pregnancy brain. I don't know if I can use that anymore because my daughter's almost 2. I don't know if I could use that anymore. It's just me being dumb at this point. But anyway, mistakes were made on that, but I think it'll still turn out really good. I think overall, like from far away, I think you won't be able to see it. It's just going to be me that's going to be able to see it and know that I made a mistake in choosing the color I did. But anyway, yeah, so I'm going to hopefully finish this up. That way I can figure out how it fits. And I need to go through my stash, pick a color just in case I need to add some to the, like, kind of to the side of me to make sure that it's going to be wide enough to fit. So I may have to add a little bit of extra, but that's where we're at. Today we're going to look at a color. I'll probably try to show it to you either today or tomorrow, the color I chose, and then I need to choose the color for the edging and then the scalloped border. So we're getting close. We're getting really, really close. It's Tuesday, and so I would ideally like to finish this by Thursday. That way I can wear it on Friday for like the reveal. And then Saturday is Valentine's Day. So I don't know if I'll wear it on Valentine's Day or not, but I would ideally like to wear it Friday so I could show it to you. So anyway, there's the update. And we're getting there. We're getting there. So far, I love this yarn. So like I said, I'll give my like thoughts about it at the end. But so far, I'm loving it. I'm loving the way it's looking. What do you think? I'm at the park again. I decided this time I was gonna sit under this tree. I love sitting over here, but as you saw, I sewed in. There's not gonna be an easy way for me to show you. Someone's walking over there. I will. But I sewed up the side all the way up to the arm. So that's exciting. So now I just have to do that to the other side here. And yeah, we're getting closer. We're getting closer to getting this done. I'm very excited. Also, if you can tell, there's gonna be the tiniest bit of a sleeve. If I can get my hair out of the way. Normally I think, that, like I said, this is my first vest that I ever made. And normally with a vest, I think what you're supposed to do is one of these like front squares, or these front squares, they're usually supposed to be like a half square so that doesn't happen. But I didn't do that. So there's gonna be a little bit of a sleeve, which I'm totally fine with. I might like lean into that and do some more rows and then do the scalloped border, so then it'll be kind of like a little short sleeved vest situation. So anyway, there you go. And it's gonna be open this way, and I'm gonna have a tie that will kind of bow and tie in the middle. So we're getting so close. I'm so excited. I literally just want to work on this, but I'm working today. Luckily, it's been really, really slow at work, so I've been able to pull this out and work on it a ton. But this is all I want to work on. I don't want to get distracted. I don't want to get disturbed by actually working. So anyway, there we go. We're getting closer and closer. Together. I have to keep dodging pine cones. It's so cute. I love it. Okay, so I just wanted to give a really quick update. We are getting close to the end of the video because I finally finished it. I finished this vest slash that kind of turned into a little short-sleeved thing. So it's right here in my lap. I don't want to show you too much of it because I do want to show a full reveal tomorrow, which will only be like a couple minutes for you, but for me it'll be tomorrow. So I did finish it all. I sewed in all the ends and everything. I did want to mention really quick because I realized I never mentioned it. This color that I chose, that is the cream color that you saw, I never actually talked about it or mentioned it. This was the color I found in my stash to add to like join. So like I joined it. I added a little bit of width to it by doing a couple rows onto the sides. This is like the side of the garment. And then I also added a little bit of a sleeve with this same color. I found this color, it was just randomly in my stash of yarn. It's I Love This Yarn. I know it's I Love This Yarn. I don't know what the color is because it didn't have a label on it, but it is I Love This Yarn. It's very soft, and I felt like it worked really well with this. I was trying to find like, I almost thought about finding like a black or something like that, but I actually think this cream works really well with it. So that's what I did. And I realized I never mentioned it, so I thought I would mention it now. Now, obviously I have some other thoughts about this project, and so I will give those to you tomorrow or in just a couple minutes for you. But I just wanted to bring that up really quick and tell you I finished it. So the last thing I would like to do, I did not leave enough time to wash this, because if I wash it tonight and let it dry overnight, I don't know if it'll be dry enough for tomorrow, because I'm going to wear it to work tomorrow. I'm very excited. All my coworkers have been watching me make this, and so it's really exciting to be able to wear it as like a, you know, to wear it tomorrow. So I'm very, very excited. And Valentine's Day is on Saturday, and so that's the whole reason I wanted to finish this, so I could wear it in time for Valentine's Day. So anyway, last thing I need to do is, I won't have time to wash it, which I will eventually wash it, because washing it will kind of take away the stiffness of it, because it is Red Heart. I mentioned this earlier in the video. It's Red Heart yarn, so it's a little bit stiff, but with Red Heart yarn, if you wash it or block it or whatever, it does soften quite a bit. So I am really excited about that, but I think I'm going to try to steam it. If I can find my iron, which that's the thing that I have to steam things, hopefully I can get the stiffness to go away, because even the sleeve is kind of stiff. So I'm hoping that I can find my iron so I can steam this and it will be a little bit more drapey. We'll see, but I'm very excited about this because it is done. It is officially done. I will give my last thoughts here in the next clip, and hopefully you enjoyed this process. I know it was a little bit long. I know that it was quite a process. I showed a lot more of my process than I expected, but this did take me 3 weeks to make. So I'm very excited. I will tell you my thoughts about the project and about the yarn, the all-in-one Granny Square yarn, at the end of the video. We are officially at the end of the project. So I apologize for the brightness. Right now the sun is out and it is full force. I don't have a whole lot of time left on my lunch break today, but wanted to give my last thoughts on the yarn and my review, just kind of summed up. I mentioned all of these things in the video, but just to kind of sum it all up in a nice pretty package, I wanted to mention it again. My review on this yarn, my overall review, and then kind of talk about the project a little bit. So I actually have little notes because I get off track really easily. So as far as the yarn itself, the all-in-one Granny Square yarn, the new yarn that is the little hearts, overall I love it. So good. At the beginning I mentioned this, that I changed the patterns just a little bit to my preference for what I do with Granny Squares. And so the pattern called for, and conveniently I have this right here, the pattern called for every corner to chain 3, and at the very beginning you did a chain 4, reconnect to make a loop, and then you chained 6 to continue crocheting, double crocheting into the loop. What I did, and what that was the chain 3 in the corner and then the chain 2. And so what I did instead to start out is I chained 5 instead of 6, because my corner chains were only going to be 2 and not 3. So, and then every corner after that I only chained 2 and not 3. And then the other thing that I did differently than the pattern called for is in between each cluster, it called for a chain 1. I didn't do any chains at all. So that's just my preference, and tended to work okay doing it that way. I didn't run out of yarn a whole lot. It matched up well enough for me. So that's what I did personally. I typically like granny squares that have the holes are just a little bit smaller, and that kind of ended up that way for me. So that's what I changed on the pattern. I did not change my hook size or anything. I used the 5.5 that they recommended, and it worked out just fine. I was just recently watching back my video, what I've edited so far, and at the beginning when I was working up my first square, I was saying that this is a triple crochet 8 in the one stitch, and I was only able to do 7. What I realized is when I noticed that I flipped the square to the other side and I saw the end, I think the end was too long, and that's the reason it didn't make it all the way. I believe the pattern calls for you to have a 4-inch end, and you really have to pay attention to that when you're doing this. I didn't like pull out a ruler and measure it every single time. At some point I just got like a feel for how long it needed to be, but you really have to stick to that, otherwise you will run out of yarn on your first color. So I think that's the reason that first square did not reach. I don't think it was the yarn at all. I think it was me. So I just wanted to mention that as well. So the other thing that I really struggled with at the beginning was reading the pattern on the label that the yarn came on. And so I recommend, if that is something that you're struggling with, especially on this purple row, and again, I mentioned it prior in the video, but on this purple row, I was really struggling with the pattern because I'd do like a cluster or two, and then I'd have to go back to the pattern, but I couldn't find where I was in the pattern, and I would just get really frustrated. So what really helped me was I found the pattern on the Yarnspirations website, and I blew it up really big, and that really helped me be able to get that pattern down. And then at some point I was just able to do it, and it wasn't a problem. So I definitely recommend, if that's a problem for you, blow it up. It really helps. Overall, this yarn is not for perfectionists at all. I am by no means a perfectionist at all. I did not care if half my stitch was not the right color. I didn't even care sometimes if the whole stitch was not the right color. This yarn is just not for perfectionists. If you need every single square to be absolutely perfect, I just genuinely would not recommend this yarn at all, because it's just not going to be. As much as they want to try, and honestly, they've done a very good job. I cannot understand how they could even do this, but as much as they can do a good job, or as hard as they can work to get it to work, everybody's tension is so different, it's just not going to be perfect. And so if that bothers you, I would just recommend not getting this yarn at all. And I think that's people's hang-ups, is they want it to be perfect, and it's just not going to be. I literally had not one square that was perfect. Now, part of that could have been that I changed the pattern, that I removed the chain one in between the clusters, and I also did one less chain in the corner. So that very well could be my choice, and maybe if you did follow it to a T, it would be more perfect, but I didn't care. I preferred the less space look, and for it not to be and I was okay that it wasn't perfect. So even like you can see on this one, it wasn't totally perfect. Pretty much every single square has like the tiniest bit of a different color in it. So if you are a perfectionist and that would bother you, I wouldn't even bother with this yarn, because it'll just frustrate you. For me, it doesn't matter to me. There was only probably a small handful of squares that I did have to pull back and fix, but other than that, if it was half the stitch, even if it was the full stitch, I just didn't care. So again, if you're a perfectionist, don't even try the yarn if you get frustrated by that. So that's kind of my overall thoughts of the yarn. Overall, I loved it. Loved the yarn. I will continue to get the all-in-one Granny Square yarns. They have like a ton of them now, and I really want to get more, but money is tight these days. And so this one was really calling to me, and I really thought it would be a good idea to make a project before Valentine's Day, or for Valentine's Day. And so that's the reason that I splurged on this yarn. That's my wrap up of the yarn and my yarn review. Loved it. Definitely recommend if you are not a perfectionist. So I wanted to wrap up this video by also kind of talking a little bit about the project. I'll show a little bit of footage of this as well. I got a little bit of close-up footage of this, but there are some spaces in the corners of how I joined. So I joined this with a mattress stitch, which I probably mentioned a billion times in this video, but I'm new to it. I noticed that in the corners, where the corners joined, I just didn't do a very good job at that. You can see big old spaces where I joined that. So that may just be me and my lack of practice and knowledge of how the mattress stitch works. And so in the future, if I do this again, I will
either go back and like reinforce those corners, or I will do a little bit more research on how to do the corners. So that's the one thing about this, you just can't look at it too closely because the corners are a little bit weird. There are a little bit spaces. I know I mentioned this also, but the join color I could have chosen better as well. I know really early in the video I mentioned that I wasn't going to have any extra yarn. I did. I don't know why I thought that. I had 3 skeins that I bought and I only used 2. And so I had a whole other skein. I could have sacrificed a couple squares to use this pink color to join the squares so that you didn't see the join color. So not my best choice, but I still love it. This was supposed to be a vest and it ended up with sleeves, so that was my bad. That was just my lack of understanding of how a vest works. I mentioned too, I think when you do a vest, you're supposed to have like one of the squares or something is supposed to be different here where you only have like half a square. And so it's supposed to prevent the sleeve from falling over. And so I didn't know that. And so I just did it the way that my brain thought to do it, and it gave it a sleeve, which I honestly ended up loving in the end. Like, this sleeve is adorable, and so I just kind of leaned into the sleeve. I'm really glad I did. It wasn't supposed to have a sleeve, this was not the plan, but I'm glad it did have a sleeve because it's so cute. I love it. So the last thing I'll mention about this is, while it is short sleeved and very cute and summery feeling, it's really thick. It is made with worsted weight yarn. You were probably thinking that this entire time. Like, why would you make a vest out of this? It's still going to be warm. It is. It's very warm. I think the high temperature today is in the 70s, so it's like 72 to 75 degrees today. And so it's a little toasty, even being a short sleeved. So it's kind of more for like an early springtime vest. Not really summer, like maybe cold summer days. I don't know. So, but not really either, like, it's also not really like a winter thing either because it doesn't have sleeves. So I would say like mild winter days, colder spring days, maybe something like that for this, because this is very toasty and very warm. So keep that in mind too when you're making garments out of this. If you're gonna make a garment, make like a sweater or something like that. This is just really toasty and warm, but I still love it. I'm so glad I did it. It took me 3 weeks to make, and I don't know, I just really enjoyed it. And I really appreciate you watching this video if you've watched it all the way through, or if you just jumped to the end to see the review, that's fine too. Just subscribe if you like this video. I will try to dedicate more videos to just one project, have time. Sometimes, this is why this took me longer, because sometimes it just, I can only crochet in certain times of the day. But anyway, I hope you liked that. Feel free to like this video if you liked the sweater vest. And I hope you have a great weekend. I hope you had a great Valentine's Day, or will have a great Valentine's Day. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Bye.